So today, what are we working on today? We're going to be working on metric lengths and references. So to start today's lesson, the key concept today that we're going to look at is this thing called metrics lengths and their references. And when I say the references, we're talking about things that we've seen in life that will allow us to do stuff with it. So next, what are we going to know? What do we need? First of all, we need decimals, we need fractions to decimals. We also need to be able to use number lines to find the length of something. We're also going to be able to know about how to multiply by powers of 10. So let's talk about multiplying by tens. Now let's take a look at this on our calculator. Let's say I did 10 times 5. You use your calculator, punch that in your handy dandy calculator, and you get 50. So that's example 1. Here's example 2. Let's go 2 times 10. What do you get? 20. That's interesting. Let's call that example 2. Let's call this example 3. Let's say I have, instead of 10, I write 10.1 and I times it by 10. What do you get? Punch that in your calculator. You're going to get 101. And on my calculator it says 101.0. Let's try that again. Something's coming. Something's coming up here. So let's say I multiply the key number that helps us to find the circle, the outside of a circle. It's called pi. So let's say I take 3.14 and I'm going to multiply it by 10. Punch that in your calculator, you get 331.4. What? How did that happen? How? So if you look at this, what happens is you take whatever the number is with some decimal, and when you multiply it by 10, all that we do is we move the decimal over one spot. So what the heck do I mean by that? Let's go take a look. Now suppose I have these problems. So you have 5.1 times 10. So underneath, I'm just going to do the math underneath. So the key idea is to take a moment and write all of the numbers that are in this part of our problem. So notice I'm just going to underline this whole thing here. So I'm going to write 5, 2, 1, nice and big for you. So 5, 2, 1. Oops, it's not 5, 2, 1. It's 5, 512. Now that I've got my 512 written up, what we're going to do is we're going to take that 512 and we're going to look back at our original problem. So there is our decimal. So what I'm going to do with my decimal is I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to basically think about what I said before. What I said before was I moved the decimal somewhere, right? Now, when we multiply by 10, essentially what's happening is we take the decimal and we move it over exactly one space. So now, instead of 5.12, our final answer is going to be 51.2. Let's do the same for this next problem, example 6. So imagine I have 101.23, and we're going to times that by 10. So what we have to do is we have to imagine we just write down all the decimals. 101, 2, 3. Then what we do is we go back up to the original problem and we move the decimal one space over to the right. So we have, so it should be 1012.3. And there is our answer. Now, try this one on your own. So, 562.132 times 10. So, just like we did before, we write down all our numbers. 562.132. And now all we have to do is figure out where our decimal is. Pause it and tell me where the decimal is. And so now we take our point and we look at it. There's our decimal, and we're going to move it over one spot. So now it should be 5621.32. And if you got that, you're good. So now let's try one more problem. So let's say I have the following. Let's go 8 times 10. Now, I'm going to do something very special with the 8. I'm going to take the 8 and I'm going to give myself some space so that I can do some special mathematics beside it. So I'm going to go 8 times 10. So what I do, pause your video, do the rest of this problem. So now we go 8 times 10. So I write 8. Now, here is what I do in order to handle whole numbers. With my whole number, I will literally go and write 0.0 after the 8. Now, what that allows me to do is it allows me to figure out where my decimal is going to go. So if there's no decimal, make sure you just put one in at the very end of your number. And now we're multiplying by 10. So all we're doing is moving the decimal over one space. So our 8 really should have been 80. And now we take our decimal and we move it over and it starts here. So I'm just going to put a 0. So our answer is 80.0. So now let me give you some sample problems that I expect you to be able to do today. So imagine I give you this problem. So now what we're going to do on these problems is, suppose I had 7, instead of times 3, I'm going to times it by something else. That something else is going to be 30. Now, all we have just done is taken 30, which is really just 3 times 10, and multiplied it against 7. And what that does is it's just taking whatever we had here of 7 times 3, which gives us this number 21, and we have to imagine that all we're going to do is take the result that we got, which is 21 from before. We're going to put our imaginary decimal place in here with a 0 on it. And all we're going to do is move that over. And our final answer is really 210. Now, that's it. That's all we're doing. We're just multiplying the second number or the first number by 10 in the original number to move the decimal over one spot for multiplying by tens. Okay? So now, here's what I want you to do. You're going to go online and you're going to do the practice problems. You're going to do 30 problems for me online. Okay? Some of you that are having a little bit of difficulty, do 10. Send me your results. I'll look at it and tell you whether you should do some more. But really, most of you should be able to do 30 of these questions for today. Okay?